Got to admit, James, it's been a pretty solid week of sports. The Olympics are going, basketball's heating up. The wrestling was great tonight. And most importantly, the Patriots lost the Super Bowl. Thank God. Let's go. Oh, wait, I forgot to have our media set up. Now we can go.
Uh-oh.
Yes, boy!
French toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Fake. We can see that you don't have pants on.
Somebody hit somebody with a pie. Do something.
Giovanni yelling we're out of time as we go off the air.
Giovanni yelling a lot of things tonight.
And welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Mark It Down podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined this week by James Asante, back here once again to review another episode of AEW Dynamite, and it was a doozy, as we have our last show before Grand Slam Australia coming up on Saturday. Tony treated this like an extension of that.
It really did feel like it.
It's more
All
like,
out.
yeah, it's Grand Slam week. No, All Out's not till later in the year.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But we start with the main event, which was the second of two title matches this evening, which saw the AEW Women's Champion Kris Statlander, or as she referred to herself on Saturday, and therefore made it AEW canon, Straplander, go up against Thekla in an AEW Women's Championship match that was also a strap match. Now, this came about because Statlander...
Bunk.
Statlander...
Preemptive bunk.
Hey, Statlander's the one who brought it up, okay? It wasn't me.
She is the strap daddy after all.
That she is. Now, this came about after Statlander agreed to another title match with Thekla on two conditions. One, Stat got to pick the stipulation, and two, the Sisters of Sin were not to interfere in a tag match. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, with the Babes with the Power, which ended up not mattering anyway. So that all happened. Statlander was
who?
Babes of Wrath. What did I say? Babes with the Power? Yeah, Babes of Wrath. Excuse me.
I don't blame you.
Oh,
Anyway, so those all go through. Saturday, Statlander comes out to announce the stipulation. She gets jumped by the Triangle of Madness, and then the Sisters of Sin hold her down, and Thekla whips her with the belt for a while, and that leads to the strap match. So Statlander got busted open right before the commercial break as Thekla used the strap to pull her into the steps. Statlander actually cut herself pretty deep as well, which was pretty cool. But to jump to the end of this match, after Statlander wrapped Thekla up with the strap and hit a tombstone pile driver, the Sisters of Sin came out, and the aforementioned Babes of Wrath weren't able to assist because they were already in Australia doing press for Grand Slam. So Stat's on her own, and with Sky Blue distracting the ref for some reason, because I guess you have to do that in a strap match. I don't know. Is there DQ there? Hey, you know it. Either way, Sky's distracting referee Aubrey Edwards, and Julia Hart gets into the ring to go after Stat. However, Stat is able to duck her punch and whips her with the strap. Statlander then takes the strap to Sky Blue, and she falls off the apron. And as Statlander looks at her, Thekla gets up and sets up. And when Statlander turns around, Thekla cuts her in half with a spear. Thekla then uses the strap to tie Statlander's hands behind her back, and then Thekla hits a massive stomp, pinning the AEW Women's World Champion and becoming the champion herself. And then after the match, the Sisters of Sin got back into the ring and began stomping out Statlander until the music of the newly formed Brawling Birds hits, and Jamie Hayter and Alex Windsor come down armed with a pipe and a hammer and drive off the Triangle of Madness, who then leave in celebration with their newly won championship. So James, this was good. It was a solid strap match. It was I don't know if it was the first women's strap match in AEW, but it was the first one for the AEW Women's Championship, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. But obviously, the big news here is I would say, fairly shocking title change as Thekla becomes the new AEW champ.
it's weird because in a lot of ways, it feels like Thekla has been set up to win this title pretty much out the gate. They established her as a big deal from her debut on. And to some people, I don't know that I'm part of that, but to some people, arguably it's taken too long for her to get to the title. Now, I all things said, I'm happy for Thekla. She's a good worker. She's a strong worker. She's got a good gimmick, and she's got a good handle on that gimmick. But I do feel bad for Stat here. It really does feel like this title reign was transitional. It really does feel like this title reign was, we just need to get the title off Toni Storm in a way that people aren't going to melt down. And I feel like the title reign never really had legs to it, unfortunately. So much of the title, like, she has been feuding with Thekla and the Sisters of Sin on and off since she won it. She had the feud with Mercedes, which was a big win. Like, don't want to take anything away from that feud and that win. But I feel like she just never got to establish herself as a champion with an identity in that regard. So I'm a little sad to see that. The match itself was fun. I don't know what it was, but I felt I went back and not rewatched the whole match. Obviously, we didn't have time from the match ending to now, but there was a level of the first time I watched it and then sort of skimmed through it the second time. It felt like Thekla dominated a lot of the match. And upon the second viewing, I did notice that Stat got more offense than I think I realized. But at no point did I actually feel confident Stat was going to retain the title in the match tonight.
It felt very much like Statlander was on the back foot for a lot of it. And I thought commentary did a good job of pointing out that maybe this is because Stat got goaded into this match on Saturday when Thekla came out and, beat her with that belt. And maybe Statlander changed her mind and made it a strap match as opposed to whatever she was possibly thinking before that. And I think that actually kind of lended credence to the way they structured this match where this wasn't really Statlander's idea, or at least one would think, but she ended up going along with it. Obviously, it seems like whipping people with leather straps is Thekla's strong suit. And because of that, she was able to gain the upper hand throughout the majority of the match. Thekla didn't bleed in this match. Statlander did. And you saw that she was fighting from behind the entire time. And then you add to the fact that she has no backup because the Babes of Wrath, got it right this time, are in Australia, and Statlander was fighting a serious uphill battle the entire night tonight, and even the backup that didn't come until it was well too late. So it was an interesting way to structure the match, but I thought the commentary did a good job of explaining why that was. As for Stat's title reign, I agree with you. It did feel a little transitional. She had some very, very good defenses, though, because Statlander is just that damn good in the ring. So it's one of those things that happens with her whenever she wins a title or whenever she has a match. People usually say, oh, she gave them their best match possibly ever for a lot of different people from, frankly, Jade Cargill on down. So
yeah,
it is a little unfortunate considering that was, if I'm not mistaken, Statlander's first women's title reign, world title reign.
And AEW for sure.
Yeah, in AEW. And it ends up being more of a transitional one. That being said, Thekla is awesome. I think
100%, yeah.
She's been on fire since she's gotten in AEW. I was a little bit surprised Tony didn't just slingshot the title to her to begin with when she first got there, just because she came in so hot. But, she's been there less than a year, and she now not only has multiple high-profile wins, and has only been pinned twice. She is now the AEW Women's World Champion, and I think deservedly so.
I'm inclined to agree with you. I'm excited to see what's next. I think, and we've had these conversations privately in the in our group chat, and there's been a question of how Tony is booking the women's division right now. I've been a big proponent of, while I love Willow, I thought that division definitely needed her to drop one of her titles. Simply to spread the love and get more segments for the women on TV. But beyond that, arguably the women's division is just not getting the focus it was getting when Mercedes was TBS champ, when Tony was women's champ. So I love Stat, and I don't think any of this is an indicator of who she is as a talent and how she is as a champion. But I do think the division needed a little bit of a reset, and Thekla could be that person. Tony was a dominant babyface the majority of her time as champion. Any of the timeless reigns. So, and then Statlander, who took it off of her. Again, we're kind of excluding the Mariah May of it all, but because I did feel like just a blip in the timeless Tony era.
But even then, Tony was such a big part of that era, that Mariah reign, that it elevated Mariah to the spot Tony had been in, because it was still really Tony's story.
Exactly. So we had that with Tony, and then with Statlander, who was a lovable babyface champion. It's been a long time since the women's division has had a heel world champion. Obviously, we had Mercedes as TBS champion, so it's not like the women didn't have a heel champion to chase. But it's a very different situation with Thekla, who's backed up by the Sisters of Sin. So I think you have a real fun opportunity here to crown a champion who can overcome that and overcome those odds. Because Thekla is very clearly beatable. Stat even beat her already, if we're being real. So she's clearly a champion that is not invulnerable, but she's got her advantages in her team. So it's going to be a fun dynamic when we get there, whoever it may be. No idea. So I'm excited for the women's division, and hopefully we'll see some growth there.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's going to allow, at least for a little while, the championships to be separate and in separate segments, just because now you'll have, they'll still have the TBS and the Women's World Tags together, but the AEW Women's World Championship can be in a separate one, as opposed to, having the Cosmic Babes of Wrath all together in one segment, and kind of keeping that so tight that you really only end up with one women's segment outside the Orange Cassidy, Tony Storm storyline.
Yeah.
So I definitely get what you're saying there. And to my recollection, this is the first time we've had a women's champ who's got backup, who's in a group since Tony had it with the Outsiders. So not the Outsiders. Outcasts. Thank you. Yeah, wrong Outsiders. But yeah, so I think it's going to be fun seeing that again. And as we say hello to Fernando, I thought he had a good comment here. Thekla has a serious edge need to be an exciting champion. And I think she's going to be an exciting one. She's going to be somebody who's going to be very fun to cheer against, because she has the Sisters of Sin with her, and they're going to be interfering left and right, I imagine. But she's still good enough where she can do it on her own. I know that's not the story that was really told here, but as I mentioned, she's only been pinned twice, and once was by Stat.
Yeah.
So
no, absolutely.
She definitely has, the talent to do it by herself. She's got the backup when she, can't get it done. And she's going to be a very exciting champion to chase. And whoever does get the title off her, it's going to be a very big win.
Yeah.
All right. To hop into a couple of comments really quick. It wants to know, James, how you feel about the name. I believe it's the Brawling Birds, not the Fighting Birds. But I'm okay with the birds part. I like the brawling is reminding me of this guy who used to be called Butch, and it's kind of putting me off. But the vignettes are funny as hell.
I love the vignettes. The name I dislike, but I dislike it for a completely different reason than why I dislike any of the other women's tag team names. All the other women's tag team names very much feel like somebody just put them in a video game name generator, and that's what we got. This one just feels kind of lazy, but at least there was an attempt with creativity. Like, them being birds is not something like, that's not like the top thing that I would think of to describe them. But I get it. Like, they're a couple of birds. I understand. It's fun.
It's a British thing,
Oh,
realistically.
100%.
Yeah.
100. I totally get that. But there are tiers to this. There are levels to this. Those other tag team names, which I know you're trying to get me to say, are here. The Brawling Birds are like right here.
I'm just gonna probably end up calling them the Boyds a lot, but
The Boyds.
The Boyds.
The Boyds.
Thank you, Mel
Hello,
Brooks.
Maria. How are you?
Hey, Maria.
Welcome back.
But yeah, I think it's an okay name, and I think it'll probably grow on us as we get going.
I also don't think those two are destined to be a long run tag team either. You know,
Maybe not. But when they do break up, I'm sure that feud will be hard hitting as
hard hitting. Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of lariats in that.
Absolutely.
In comparison to Fernando's earlier comments about Thekla being an exciting champion, he called Kris a dull champion. I don't know if you meant dull or dull, but either way, I don't think if you did mean dull, I don't think she was dull. I thought she was better than she had been in the past as a character, because her character is so much better. But a lot of it was just kind of running around with the Babes of Wrath. And while it was fun, I think she could have done more, especially if she had a longer reign.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You know what saying? You called the CEO heel. Just wait till Maria hears about this. And then Maria walked in right after.
She was summoned.
Yep. You know what saying? Thekla better watch her back, though. The sisters are mischievous. Don't worry, I know what you meant. And they are, absolutely. And Maria congratulating Thekla on her win. So, like I said, very good match. Very interesting that Tony made that call. But I like it. And we'll see where it goes. I'm upset that Statlander loses the title, but I'm super hyped for Thekla.
No, I am too. I also want to note, because we talked about this when the last Dynamite we covered it together, which was what, last week?
Yeah, it would be last week.
Worried about the main event time. But they really did give them time.
Yeah, no, I
went over 10.
Yeah, because they started like again 9:58, 10 o'clock, and I posted. I was like, Tony, you better give these women fucking time.
Yeah.
And they were like 13, 14 minutes into it, and then it still hadn't ended. I was like, thank you, Tony.
No, I personally, I don't care when these shows go over, whether it's WWE, AEW, TNA, or whatever. It just shouldn't be the expected time, if that makes sense. I shouldn't have to sit through 3 hours of a TV show every week. But if a show gets that extra 10 to 15 minutes once every 3 weeks, once every month and a half, that's fine with me. It makes it feel important.
Yeah. And every once in a while, I don't mind getting the old school WCW Tony Schiavone, we're out of time, as people are brawling to end the show. That's fun too. And then, you could always throw the aftermath up on YouTube or Twitter or whatever. And they've done that sometimes too. But match-wise, I do like when every once in a while we go over it because it feels more realistic.
Yeah.
I do like that. Now, part of the reason they went so long is the next match we're going to cover. And we're going to start first with the earlier backstage interview with Kyle Fletcher, along with that carny piece of shit, Don Callis, before his TNT championship match. So Renee is there, and she asks Kyle about the pressure on him, and Don hops in saying that Kyle doesn't have any pressure. He's going to win back his TNT championship and go back to jolly old Australia as champion. Kyle agrees with him, saying he thrives under these conditions, and he's going to win back that TNT championship so he can get the hero's welcome he deserves when he returns home. However, he does have a question for Don, and he asks Don to let him do this on his own. And Don is actually thrilled at the prospect of doing nothing outside of kicking his feet up on commentary. And
I appreciate the honesty.
Watching the great Kyle Fletcher, and he agrees to stay out of it. And then Kyle leaves, and Don calls him the son he's never had.
I appreciate the honesty thoroughly.
Yeah. So after a match, which we will talk about later, which actually did involve the Don Callis family, and Don was not on commentary, which is something we will probably bring up again later, we went to our TNT championship match, which saw the defending Tommaso Ciampa face off against the aforementioned Kyle Fletcher. And Don was indeed on commentary flanked by Lance Archer. Just a couple of spots here. Fletcher took a psycho driller on the steps, and he basically caught the edge of it. And I don't know how more of him wasn't bleeding. He cut his arm a little bit. I'm surprised his entire back wasn't bleeding. And then he got into the ring, and Ciampa caught him with the running knee that he had been using to finish matches.
Really caught him beautifully.
Yep. But Fletcher kicked out. Note that it kind of became a theme. So we jump a little bit later in the match to a great false finish where Ciampa almost runs into the referee, Rick Knox, and Fletcher followed it up with the haluva kick. I really thought he was going to low blow him, and he didn't. I was shocked. He actually hit him clean.
Yep.
And then Guile hit the brain buster, but Ciampa was able to kick out of that at the very last second.
It was such a great moment. It's already been freeze framed. Everybody loves it. It was a great spot.
Yeah, I got big ref you suck chance. Like that Southern LA crowd is super on the refs tonight. But what do I expect, from Dodgers and Lakers fans? Kyle then brought Ciampa up to the turnbuckle for the turnbuckle brainbuster, but Ciampa reversed that, I don't know how, into an avalanche German suplex, and then got down to the mat and hit the knee again. But Kyle was able to kick out of that again. Fletcher then countered the knee with a thrust kick, but Ciampa followed that up with another knee, and Kyle kicked out again. So then Ciampa hit the third one, and then Kyle kicked out again, and he just barely rolled over out of it. I could not believe that wasn't the end of the match.
Yep.
So Fletcher's out there, and he's throwing some super weak strikes. So Ciampa starts getting a little cocky, and he winds up for a big one, but Fletcher ducks it, grabs Ciampa, and lawn darts him into the corner before hitting another haluva kick, this time to the back of Ciampa's head. Fletcher then rolls back to the opposite corner and goes for a third haluva kick, this time to the front of Ciampa. But Tommaso comes out and hits another knee, and Fletcher kicks out again.
It's insanity.
So Fletcher goes to the opposite corner, and he lines up Fletcher, and Fletcher is just yelling at him to bring it. And when Ciampa charges, Fletcher is able to time it and catches him and hits Ciampa with a Michinoku driver. Fletcher then hit a massive clothesline and followed that up with the sheer drop brainbuster, and he pinned Ciampa for the win to become the two-time TNT champion.
Wasn't a fan.
So there's some stuff that happened after this, and we'll talk about it in a minute. But James,
I'm not a fan of that either, if I'm going to be real.
We will get to that.
Yeah.
Whether or not you were a fan of the
incredible fucking match.
What a fucking match.
I'm going to go with Maria on this one. The WWE shackles are off Ciampa now.
Oh, yeah. They've been off for a couple of weeks since he got there, but yeah, this just proved it.
That felt like the type of match that we have, when you know a wrestler is capable, but you just don't see it that often anymore for whatever reason.
Yeah, I feel like that every time somebody I used to watch wrestle outside of WWE wrestled inside of WWE.
Yes. And my goodness, was it great to see this man back. I don't want to say the things he was doing in WWE were bad. He was one of the torchbearers of NXT Black and Gold. He was one of the best talents in that division for years. As champion, as a tag team champion with DIY. We know how good he is. But my God, it felt like this guy was saying, you know what? I've been holding back just a little. Are you ready? And I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for how great this was. So I'm so happy that he does get to show off. I'm so happy he's getting to wrestle the matches he wants to be wrestling. So bravo to Tommaso Ciampa. Bravo to Kyle Fletcher. There are thousands of Fletchlights right now that are just so happy. And I'm really happy for them. I think it was a mistake. I appreciate. We had 2 title changes tonight. That's big. That's a big Dynamite right there. And they were nothing title changes. They were big title changes. That's a big move, and it's a good way to get people talking and to get people excited. I don't know how I feel that Ciampa won it and lost it. I have been hearing rumors, and they're just rumors. There's nothing solid. There's nothing there that it's like, well, yep, everybody be ready. But there are rumors that a certain wrestling man might be leaving WWE. And if he does, maybe we'll see a tag team reformed in AEW. And that's something we talked about last week.
Yep.
I don't know how I feel about that, but that's besides the point. I'm not crazy about the quick title change just because I feel like it almost makes it feel like a little bit of a fluke. I'm glad he did get a defense in. And it was a good defense, too. That triple threat was...
Yeah, I watched it last night. It was awesome.
Incredible title match. Incredible defense. Well played. But I do think... Yeah, great finish. I do think this was a little too quick for me. And I understand. They wanted an Australian on the card as champion. I get it. No. Why not have him win it at the show? Unless Ciampa just did not want to travel to Australia, which fine, I guess. Have him win it at the show. It felt wrong. I know, like, we heard it a bit. Anybody that was going to Australia was already in Australia. So I guess
everybody. Because Fletcher's going, isn't he?
Yeah, I guess so. Fletcher is going, and I guess his new challenger is as well.
Yeah, I think the Brawling Birds are going too. Moxley's going. Orange and Tony are going. Most of them, I think, are flying out.
I mean, there needs to be a reason why MJF and Brody King weren't on the show.
Media. I would imagine they got sent over early, and it's obviously the Babes of Wrath got sent over early to do media, but I'm bummed for Ciampa. I think at the end of the day, him winning was it's going to be remembered as a huge moment. He debuted, won the title on his first show, and that's what people are really, really going to talk about in years to come. Not so much the reign itself, although they could have if it was booked well. Mm-hmm. But overall, I am happy that it just existed. And I think there is something to, you know what, we're kind of fucking with predictability here. You could argue, again, very arguable as to whether or not people thought Thekla was going to win the women's title. I, for one, can say I had 0% thought in my brain that Fletcher was going to beat Ciampa tonight. I had no idea that was going to happen. I thought of the two, Fletcher had the better chance just because they were going to Australia, to be honest with you. But
I just didn't think that they would give Ciampa such a short reign. I never processed that.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I mean, they could do it, but I don't know why they would, take the title off Ciampa so quickly. And it made for a very shocking title change. I thought both of these title changes were incredibly shocking. And kind of hearkening back to last week, when we thought Brody winning the match was surprising because we had somebody win an eliminator earlier in the night.
Yeah.
Thekla winning in the main event was shocking because we had the title change here earlier in the night. And I did not expect two title changes on the same Dynamite. Yep. So Tony, he got us once again.
Brilliant.
And I know, but it's pretty crazy that it happened. And my brain keeps going all over the place with this because I agree with you. Ciampa having a week and a half title reign is pretty wild. Now, it was the TNT. It's crazy stuff has happened with it before. It's the title in which to do it, but it's still nuts that Ciampa only had a week and a half title reign.
Yeah.
That being said, like you said, him coming in and immediately winning clearly establishes that he's going to be a big deal in this company. Yeah. And I think even him losing, the title so quickly doesn't erase that. And obviously you get the title onto Fletcher and he can, Kris, hello, look at you. Tell me what the Powerball number is going to be next week. Having Fletcher get the title back and going to Australia as champ is a pretty cool deal. I understand the difference between winning it there and walking in as champ and getting that quote-unquote hero's welcome they kept having him mention. The other thing is I think they wanted to get this 7th Briscoe match in.
Which I hate.
I know. I'm I'm with Kyle. I'm not even going to say what he said, but it's going to be a ladder match at Grand Slam for quote unquote Game 7, as Briscoe called it. And I'm with Kyle. Like he said, he's like, I'm so tired of facing you.
Yep.
I don't want to do it anymore. But they think part of the reason why Ciampa won the title is, even though I seem to be the only person who remembered, Briscoe wasn't allowed to face Fletcher for the title anymore. And so having, or maybe it was the opposite. Either way, they weren't.
They said after that, whoever won that match, that was it for them in that scenario.
Yeah.
So,
and then I also think Briscoe would have had to join the
family.
The family. Yeah. Either way, it was a mess. So they had to like work around it, and now it's a new title reign. All challengers welcome.
Just don't do it. Just don't fucking do it.
Well, did Tony book himself in a little bit of a corner there? Yes. Did he know Ciampa was coming? I don't know. So that might have changed.
Why does it need to be a best of 7? You can have these guys be tied, and then in 2 to 3 years have it be a world championship match.
I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Don't ask me
Why
questions.
don't you know? Let me know.
Because I'm not Tony Khan. Look, look. It was incredibly convoluted. I don't know why they did it that way. It looks kind of dumb, but I'm almost forgiving it because we got such a good fucking match tonight, and Ciampa got a title on his first match in AEW. So it was all pretty nuts, and I kind of liked all of it, but whew, what a match.
I loved the matchup. In a vacuum, this was incredible. That was a pay-per-view caliber match.
Yeah.
But I'm not happy about the time. I'm not saying I'm not happy Kyle Fletcher won. I'm just not happy that Ciampa lost the title.
Yes. And then where the title was immediately going after. Hey Dev, what's going on, dude?
Hey, Dev.
I will say this though. Last note on the match before we get into the comments. This is the type of match, and honestly, this is the type of night, but this is the type of match. This is why I watch AEW.
Yes.
Like
absolutely.
you said, you got a pay-per-view caliber match with a title change on a random ass Wednesday, and I know it's the match, the Wednesday before a fairly big show, down in Australia, but we weren't expecting too much out of this Wednesday. The card wasn't that, advertised that stacked. Like, we knew we had the 2 title matches, but I was just like, okay, we got 2 title matches tonight. That's cool. No way anything good happens.
Nope.
And all of a sudden, we have what SRS called a top 10 Dynamite ever, and 2 title changes, and one of the matches of the year, and arguably now one of the, a contender for the TV match of the year, probably along with that MJF Bandito match at, back at the start of January. So this is why I watch AEW. This is why I love this fucking show. And to borrow a line, this is why I can't quit this sport. All right. Let's see. We have some comments here. What's saying? Like they say, when wrestlers come to AEW to wrestle, I agree. Maria thinks that Ciampa lost the title too soon. There it goes. It was lagging for a second. Look, I think you were allowed to think. Obviously, you were allowed to think that. It was only, 10 days his title reign, give or take. So it's going to be interesting to see where I think Ciampa goes from this as well, because he had a path. It was just be awesome and defend the title, and now he doesn't have the title. And considering how he usually gets when he loses his titles, we'll see what ends up happening. Maria also doesn't want to see one certain wrestler in AEW, or at least not tagging with Ciampa. She wants him to keep him solo. And I think he will be, at least for a little while. From everything I understand, Gargano's contract isn't up for a bit. Yeah. At least through midway through the year, right? So
yeah,
probably got some time there. To answer all your questions about where you're arguing Thekla is from, she's from Austria. Not Australia, not Iceland, Austria.
My question is, do they have kangaroos, though?
In some zoos, I would imagine, but no, they don't have wild roos. Fernando,
they do have Arnold Schwarzenegger, though.
That's true. Why is the IWC so annoying about talent winning or losing in their hometown? I disagree with Ciampa losing the TNT title just for Kyle to walk to Australia. So what? I mean,
I understand the logic. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, go ahead. I was gonna wing it.
I understand the logic in saying we want a hometown boy to walk in with a title. I do get it. I do get it. It's a great way to get your crowd invested. It happens in all sports. That's why there are home teams. You know, you're going to cheer for your home team. So I get it with this. I get it with Fletcher. I just wish that there was a way to have done it in a way that didn't undermine or undercut Ciampa's title win. I also wish we didn't have to get a fucking 7th match between him and Mark. All that said, I understand the frustration because I'm frustrated for Ciampa too, but I get the logic behind it. I just wish maybe there was a different title he could have done it for.
We get Continental or not the Continental, sorry, the National.
I mean, maybe, but if we're going to be honest, it feels like they're building towards something with the Don Callis family anyway. Why not have that match? It's not like, oh, they don't want to give us a repeat of a match. We're getting fucking match number 7 between Fletcher and Briscoe. So who cares if you got Fletcher, Okada 2 or 3?
Oh, I didn't even say in international. I said national. Like, what do you?
I know. Yeah. I'm just saying as another option.
I mean, I guess this one just seems to make sense to me, at least for that. But yeah, it's a weird thing. I understand Tony wanting to book him as champion going in. I get it, but he really convoluted everything around the TNT title to not only get it back onto Fletcher and make Ciampa look great while he's debuting, but also get this 7th match. It was a lot and really kind of murky these waters, but the match quality was so good tonight, and hopefully the match quality is so good on Saturday that we all just kind of go, it was worth it.
Yeah. No, I think that's where it's going to land anyway, and I'm fine with that. I am, but I hope that Ciampa doesn't now all of a sudden feel like just another guy. He should still feel important and impactful.
That's what I'm saying. Like, his presentation is so good, and the way he came in, like a bat out of hell, leads me to think Tony won't just make him feel like another guy. But we'll see.
We'll see.
So I'll see. Kris wants the Sisters of Sin to win the women's tag championship so that all the Triangle of Madness are champs. That would go against everything James has been saying the last 3 weeks, where we want this titles to be away from each other for a while so that we have more women's segments. But
I am okay with it if they win it on the simple basis of it's not one person holding 2 titles. In theory, you should still get 2 matches out of that on a show or 2 segments out of that on a show. In theory. I'm still weary of it, like you, for every reason you just thankfully repeated for me. But I'm more okay with that than, let's say, Thekla and Julia Hart winning the tag titles.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah. Because having to double book one of your champions can be annoying, you know. So at some point, Willow probably will, do both. Probably on a pay-per-view. She'll probably defend both the tag and the TBS title. But most of the time, you're not going to end up doing that.
Yeah.
And it leads to less segments, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
That's a solid point, Fernando. Ric Flair did lose a lot in North Carolina. But in Charlotte, no less. But there's a balance to having people lose in their hometown and having people win in their hometown, and or at least go in as champion in their hometown. And especially when you're going somewhere where you don't go a lot, you go once a year. I understand wanting to have, more, as many people as you can from there, not only on the card, but in a spot on the card of prominence.
Yeah. It's saying that he thinks Ciampa should be going for the world title. And these are my words on the subject. I would love to one day say AEW World Champion Tommaso Ciampa. I don't think he's there right now. But if in 2027 Tommaso Ciampa becomes the AEW World Champion, A-okay with me.
Yeah, it's very crowded right there at the top at the moment. So he would have to work his way in, and it might take a hot second. But I agree with you, James. I do think he is world champion material. And to back us up here, it is very difficult to tell stories for one person with 2 titles. So there's no need to do that again.
Yeah.
All right, let us reset everything and go back to the top of the show. Quick note, Bryan Danielson back on commentary tonight. Good to see him back on the West Coast, so it was probably a quick drive for him.
Yep.
And we started the show with the much-touted face-to-face between Kenny Omega and Swerve Strickland. So Tony Schiavone introduces both men, and they come down, and Tony begins by asking Swerve about all the tension between the two of them, as Tony feels that it is Swerve that is really causing most of it. And Swerve says that 5 years ago, Kenny was on top of the industry. He was the cleaner, the god of professional wrestling. And that was also happened to be the same time that he was last AEW World Champion. And while all that was happening, everyone was scratching and clawing to get to the heights that Kenny was at, especially if they could face him. And then Swerve finally got to AEW, and within 2 years, he became champion. But when he did, where was Kenny? Kenny was nowhere to be found. And since then, he hasn't really been outside of a few times, like in the Tokyo Dome or when they tagged together at Anarchy in the Arena. But most of the time, Kenny's either been laid up in a hospital bed or suspended. And
Dirty pool, Swerve.
And while Kenny was gone, people started looking for what Swerve referred to as a new prophet. And he makes note that the people have ushered him into that role, despite the fact he hasn't really asked for it. And then Kenny just waltzes back into AEW, inserting himself into the title picture, almost as if he is using his EVP powers, like a couple of ego-filled men that he had to deal with a couple of years ago, and he put an end to that last summer. And so Swerve wants to know from Kenny, is he indeed using that power to get his position? Kenny responds by saying that he never actually called himself the god of professional wrestling. The people bestowed that title upon him, and he does his best to continue to work and strive to live up to that moniker. And then he takes the belief of the people seriously. And if these people are going to believe in him one last time during this one last title run, please don't be true, then he is going to go about it the right way. If Swerve doesn't realize that, it may indeed be Swerve's house, but it seems like maybe the lights are on and nobody's home. And if Kenny needs to burn down that house to make a point, he's got a pretty good friends with some experience in that matter. Kenny,
dirty fucking fool, Kenny.
Hey, first started it. Kenny mentions the fact that he is indeed feeling pretty good right now, maybe even championship material. And so instead of using his EVP power, he has been stacking up wins. And he was doing so right up until the point where Swerve interfered in his match last week, which cost him a chance at Australia and the championship. And so now Kenny's looking for a fight, and he knows that Swerve wants one, so Swerve's got it. Swerve then replies that Kenny is afraid that the new generation, his own generation, is lapping him, and now Kenny has to deal with the most dangerous man in AEW. And Kenny cuts him off, saying Swerve's supposed to be the most dangerous man in AEW, give everyone the heebie-jeebies. But right now, realistically, the most dangerous man in AEW is Brody King.
Great way to put him over. Great way to put him over.
Yep. Swerve recomposes himself and says that if Kenny wants to go at it with him, he will put Kenny back in a hospital bed, and this time he's not getting back up out of it. Kenny's like, that's a heck of an idea, and just bitch slaps Swerve and spins him around. So Swerve calmly takes off his jacket. Kenny starts undoing his sleeves, and then Swerve says that it looks like Kenny has made his choice. Whatever happens next is on him. And then Swerve turns around and double legs Kenny, and the brawl is on, quickly spilling out into the crowd. And they start using chairs and metal trash cans, and they fight all the way through the crowd, up onto the ramp towards the stage, where Kenny hits a V-trigger onto Swerve into the LED board. Kenny then gets Swerve up on his shoulders and attempts to hit a one-winged angel off of the stage, but Swerve somehow grabbed a microphone in that time and hits Kenny over the head with it a few times to get off of his shoulders, and then just tackles Kenny off the stage, and the two of them go crashing through a couple of tables. Security then finally decides now it's time to come out, and they start helping the two men up as they go back to commentary desk. And then, a little bit later in the show, Kenny Omega versus Strickland is made official for next week.
So
Holy
happy.
fucking
So
shit,
excited.
Tony Khan didn't save this for Revolution. The absolute madman is putting this for free on Dynamite next week.
So I heard that Kenny's actually going to be in Japan for Revolution.
Interesting.
By the way, if you guys are seeing me lag like crazy, I apologize. I don't know what is going on right now.
Your voice is fine, but your video is a little laggy, but so continue.
So Kenny is supposed to be spending a few days in Japan around the time of Revolution. So I think they just wanted to do this. I think they just wanted to put this on a show as soon as possible and make it feel like a big deal. And boy, is it going to feel like a big deal. I am going to say something that's going to sound fucking crazy, but it's absolutely personally true. I have not been this excited for a singles match for Kenny Omega since Bryan Danielson.
Damn. I figured you were going to say that, but still, damn.
Like maybe arguably Okada, but even that was just more like the legendary aspect of it as opposed to just being excited to see it. I don't think that there is somebody in AEW like the Will Ospreay matches were incredible, and I was excited to see them, but I knew that they were going to be great. You know, like that. It wasn't a shock to me that they were going to be that good. I'm not going to be shocked if Kenny and Swerve are great, but this just feels like one of those matches that we've never really gotten in any real true capacity. And they both represent, in my opinion, what AEW is all about. Kenny is the original Elite One, in my opinion. The Elite were built around Kenny, and therefore the company comes from Kenny in a lot of ways to me. And I don't think there's been anybody who has tried to represent what it means to be all elite better than Swerve. So 100%, 100%, I am so excited for this matchup. It feels insane that it's going to be on regular TV. It feels insane that it's going to be on Dynamite. But my God, what a way to guarantee I'm going to be watching next week.
This is definitely one of those instances where I think Tony's going, you know what, let me just do it just in case. And if we want to run it back at a pay-per-view, we'll run it back at a pay-per-view. But no, I think Tony, there have been a few matches where I'm sure Tony has regretted not just doing the match.
Yeah.
And side note, I'm sure more people than just Tony have regretted this. Like, we never got Adam Cole versus Kenny Omega.
That's more than a Tony Khan problem.
I'm aware,
that's years before Tony Khan. But you're right. You're absolutely
It's the
right.
biggest example of like how many opportunities you guys have to just do this and you never did. So I think Tony's just like, all right, let's just do it. And like I said, if we want to run it back, we can run it back and up the stakes, whatever. I'm sure it'll be good either way.
I also really thoroughly loved the line Swerve said about how many people were chomping to get to AEW just to wrestle Kenny. Like, heavy implication there being Bryan Danielson came over because he wanted to wrestle Kenny. Like, that was what they were referring to back then. Like, the last time you were King of the Mountain was 2022, and it was the big match was Bryan Danielson. You guys know the story. I flew up and down this country twice in a 24-hour period just to watch Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson. And I would do it again.
I took the train. It was a lot easier.
I bet. But I'm so excited for this matchup. I won't be traveling to watch Kenny versus Swerve, but I'm excited for it. I cannot wait to cover it next week.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily go to Sacramento either, but yeah, I am so excited for it. And granted, Maria is saying that this should be a pay-per-view. It's a mistake to do this for free, a la Goldberg versus Hogan on Nitro. And yes and no. I understand where you're coming from. Like, this is obviously a pay-per-view caliber match. I 100% agree. And I'm shocked that Tony is crazy enough to do this on regular television. But this has only been built for a couple of weeks now. Well, granted, maybe it's been simmering underneath, but the true build has only been the last, month at best. Goldberg and Hogan was a lot longer.
Yeah, that should have been a Starrcade match. That was their WCW's WrestleMania.
Yeah. That was a very different circumstance. So I understand where you're coming from. I think you just used the most extreme example in trying to make your point. But either way, Tony Khan, this isn't the first time Tony Khan has given us a pay-per-view quality match on Dynamite. You just mentioned the Danielson-Kenny match. That was very clearly a pay-per-view caliber match. Now, granted, that was on a Grand Slam, and obviously those are bigger Dynamites or collisions than just our regular ones, but I don't care. I'm so excited.
And there is a very big difference. Tony Khan, for a long time, built the company around television. Because we got to remember, those first couple of years of AEW, we had 4 pay-per-views a year.
Yep.
So you can't save all your big matches for those pay-per-views. Sometimes you need to have big matches on TV. So I do appreciate that. I get, as long as the match is deemed important and not just, well, here we go, we're on Dynamite, look at this matchup. As long as they let us know and feel the gravity of those matches, I don't care if it's on Dynamite versus a pay-per-view. Personally, it's all about booking. It's all about presentation.
I agree. And I also think, too, and this is something I actually meant to mention after the title matches, but it works here, too, because Tony is booking such another high-profile match for next week. Yeah. I think after the serious amount of publicity AEW got following last week's Dynamite, after the main event chants, you know which ones, because AEW entered the mainstream. I saw an article on NBC News covering the chants that happened. And I think Tony figured that maybe he had a few more eyeballs on him this week, and he wanted to come through with a very big show. Came through with 2 title changes, including one in a 5-star level match. And now next week, he is putting on arguably the best match he can put on at the moment. And I think that's probably a pretty smart idea if you want to try to hook some of these new viewers who are like, oh, this is what they're doing over there. Let me go check it out and see if it's any good. Because this was a damn fucking good Dynamite.
I still think it's nuts after last week's main event that you don't have MJF and Brody King on the show. I understand what you're saying. I get it. It was about press for Australia. But when you show that you have that many people who are still here, put them on the plane as soon as the show is over.
Yeah. And at the same time, I know that they had the package of the 2 of them. But at the same time, look at the show they had without them.
No, for sure. But if you're trying to capitalize off of those chants from last week, that's how you do it. You have them there.
Yeah, I think Brody at least. If you just
Brody
send MJF over, fair. But yeah, I think you probably should have had Brody on the show. Arguably, you probably could have opened with him. Granted, opening with this was great, and
I love
the tone for the night. But
it got me hyped for the rest of the night. This segment.
Yeah, I do agree. So, Fernando just called it a top 3 Dynamite ever. Yeah. So if you're having people who watch the show every week say stuff like that, hopefully the people who are joining in to see what AEW is about agree that it was a phenomenal 2 hours and 20 minutes of wrestling and stick around next week, because that's how you build your brand. Yeah. All right, a couple other things. Fernando called this segment fire with a lot of flame emojis. Also said it was high praise for the match next week. You're comparing it to Omega versus Danielson. Calling this Hangman's fault. Thanks, Hangman. A little bit, yeah.
Guy burns down one house.
Yeah. Dragoon's here. Hey, Dragoon. We love Mark It Down. We love Nick Cummings. We love James. Thanks, Dragoon. Also, Thekla should have a submission finisher. I think she does. I thought she did.
I believe you, but I don't know what it is.
I could be wrong. I really could. I really swore she did and was using it when she first started. Especially like when she was doing like squash matches. She would like just cut people in half with spears and then submit them or just pass them out. So
I just don't remember.
Yeah. Dragoon's saying she did. So she should use it again. Yeah. I agree with you. She hasn't used it in a while. So especially now that she's champ, I would like to see her use it every once in a while. Like I like the spear. The stomp is cool. She's pretty damn good at it too. But yeah, I bring in the submission.
Be versatile. We love when wrestlers have multiple finishers.
Yeah. Let's see, Dragoon saying, I don't know why they keep taking submission finishers off of the women's wrestlers. Interesting question. I mean, the most high profile one right now is Marina. And maybe that's why they're trying to mostly like build her as the submission specialist in the division. Granted, Mina Shirakawa did tap out Reddit's own Vivo Van on Saturday with the figure 4. So
whoop-de-doo.
You did. Hey, it wasn't the best match, but
Mina needs a complete reset. I need her gone from TV for a little while.
Mina has been kind of like thrown on the back burner because of the Orange Cassidy stuff, which we'll talk about.
It's not even just that, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah, it's been a little weird. And then it's saying the finish for the strap match should be a choke out, but they wouldn't let that happen on TV. I mean, Brody dangled MJF off the side of the ring last week.
He hung him.
Hanged him. People are hanged. This is my one radical annoying thing. People are hanged. Pictures are hung.
As are people.
No, people are hanged.
No, I mean, some guys are hung.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well played. Took me a second. Don't know who Melanie is, dude. All right, moving on.
Get a movie that nobody saw. So.
After this, we had the Kyle Fletcher Don Callis interview we talked about, and we headed to that match, but we didn't, which were Death Rider members Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Pac, who weirdly enough were teaming up as a trio for the first time ever, at least in AEW.
So fucking weird.
Right? I know there's always been a Wheeler Yuta or a Daniel Garcia in there, or I guess a Bryan Danielson, but like, wow.
Yeah.
Facing off against Don Callis family members Konosuke Takeshita, Mark Davis, and Josh Alexander. Shout out Mark Davis in this match, by the way. Really good, especially at the beginning. Him versus Claudio was... I know it's not technically a meat match, but it felt like...
there's meat on the bone. Yeah. Also, before we get into the match, loved Claudio group hugging Yuta and Garcia and then doing like a...
Yeah, like it's a soccer thing, I think.
Yeah, that was so fun.
Yeah, meanwhile, in the background, Marina's just slapping the shit out of Moxley.
Yep.
I also like, they used all three of their music.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, it started with Claudio's, it went into Moxley's, and then ended with Pac's, which I thought was really cool. Usually, when they all come out, depending on who the most high-profile guy is in the match, they stick to the one. They used all three. I found that very interesting.
I did too. Cool. I liked it, though. I liked it, yeah.
Yeah. All right, just to jump to the end of this match, as Alexander and Davis were holding Moxley up after he ate a serious beatdown from the Don Callis family, Takeshita hits the ropes, looking like he's setting up for a big knee, but he got intercepted on the rebound by a Claudio Castagnoli uppercut. The two of them battle, and they end up spilling to the outside as Pac re-enters the ring, and he sends Mark Davis to the floor. Then Pac hits a plancha onto Davis, and as he is setting up for it, Alexander tries to run at him and grab him to prevent him from doing so. And that distraction allows for Moxley to regain his bearings and grab Alexander from behind and lock him in the sleeper hold. Alexander then starts to go limp, so Moxley transitions him into the Death Rider, hits that, and pins Alexander for the win.
I like that finish. I like that finish.
And then Mox and Takeshita once again have a stare down before their Continental Championship match on Saturday, this time with the victorious Moxley looking down at Takeshita from the ring as opposed to last week where Takeshita got the dub and he was looking down at Moxley. So James, this is a good opening match. Like I said, hard hitting. Really loved Davis versus Claudio in this.
Yeah.
I also kind of like Davis. Just at the start of this match was a lot of fun because he was him versus Pac. Pac's like, all right, like I tried. I'm a pretty strong dude. I can't get this. Mox, you're in. Mox got his ass handed to him. I was just like, fuck this, Claudio. And then they started going at it, and they were just absolutely beasting each other. So I had a lot of fun with this one. I thought it was a good opening match to start the show. And it's going to get overshadowed, but I liked it. I enjoyed it a lot.
I did too. It was a solid matchup. I think everybody looked good at one point or another in the match. I do, from a narrative standpoint, it's interesting to me because, and it sounds so simple saying it out loud, but I do think that there's some depth to this. This was technically the second match between the family and the Death Riders. Last week, Mox teamed with Yuta and Garcia against them, and they lost. So it felt like Mox brought out the big guns for this match. And I like that concept. I don't know how I feel totally about it, because on some level, we all just innately know Claudio and Pac are higher on the totem pole than Garcia and Yuta. But I think it almost defeats the purpose of what they're trying to do with those two young talent by saying Mox needed the bigger guns to get this win.
Yeah, I will just quickly correct you because I checked it. It was Moxley, Garcia, and Pac. So
that means Garcia was the weak link.
Yeah, and Garcia was being loaned out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was also a different family lineup as well, where it was Takeshita and Alexander still, but it was all clone as opposed to Davis. So they did mix it up a little bit. But I do agree with you. Them bringing out, let's call the death lineup of the Death Riders, to borrow a phrase from the Golden State Warriors. It was a little surprising that A, of all places, they just do it here, although again, big show tonight, like I mentioned. But B, the fact that they're doing it against the Don Callis family right before the big match between Moxley and Takeshita says, I think, a lot about the strategy of the Death Riders going into the match.
So we're at one apiece, and it's going to culminate in the one-on-one match between those two. I'm excited. One, I'm very excited for the matchup itself. And
the last one slapped. So
it absolutely did. I don't know where I stand. Like, I'm bummed that Alexander took the loss, but I get it.
Yeah.
Like, I do get it. I feel like you got a perfectly good Mark Davis right there to take that loss.
They're trying to build him back up again, and I appreciate it. They were really trying to do it with, the new tag team, and then Doyle goes and unfortunately gets hurt in like his second match in AEW. But they're still trying to build him back up and protect him, which is why I think he looks so good at the start of this.
And I totally get that. In the long run, this is just selfish on my part. I'd rather see Alexander protected than Mark Davis. But that's just me. But I do think it was a good finish. I think it was a good matchup. And I'm fairly certain Mox is retaining. But I'm not guaranteeing it.
I'm with you because I think a loss here leads more towards the Takeshita and Don Callis family feud because no Steve Harvey, because now Okada's got a title.
Good answer, Steve. Good answer.
Fletcher has his title back. If Takeshita, the third main dude in the family, and he can't bring home that title,
I agree.
What's that say about him?
No, I agree.
Meanwhile, Okada, I think this was on Collision. He is the guy supporting Kyle Fletcher, and he's like, "Good luck this week, buddy. I'm pulling for you. Bring home that title." And remember, I'm the one here wishing you luck because Takeshita is too busy focusing on himself.
Yep.
So I think that's what this is leading to, which leads me to think that we're going to get a Takeshita loss, which hurts me personally because I love him, but it feeds the storyline. So
to give you some hope, there is also a version of that story where you have all three champions going at it, where you have factions being led by different champions there, where you have the the Fletcher faction, you have the Okada faction, and you have the Takeshita faction, and you have all 3 mid-card titles. I'm sorry, 3 of the 4 mid-card titles, because we have fucking 4 of them. But yeah, I'm very, 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 very intrigued.
I guess that's true. And Tony has really, thrown me off before by doing something like that where, oh, this is the logical thing. Let me do it the other way.
Yep.
And it'll still work just as well. So I guess you got a point there. Referencing, remind me, I'll come back to your comments about me and Ishikawa later.
Yeah.
See, he did so that Mox did get a pack of cigarettes for the loadout. I like that. And Maria's calling for a babyface turn for Kyle Fletcher.
It's inevitable. I just don't think it's here.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those things where I think Takeshita's the first person to leave, and Fletcher's really upset about it and on the fence and not sure what to do. And then he probably ends up sticking with Don, and eventually he realizes he was wrong and hopefully joins Takeshita down the line.
Yeah.
Because we got to get Takeshita first. He's the first domino, and then hopefully as Takeshita keeps fighting them, Fletcher realizes he's wrong, and then we get that big, pop and them joining together to fight Don. All right. Yep. Following this, obviously, we had the TNT title match, which we had mentioned that. Then we got a Babes of Wrath promo package. Real quick, as mentioned, they were in Australia, so they just kind of recycled the backstage stuff from when after they lost last week that they had put up on Twitter. And then that led us to Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong versus Daniel Garcia and Clark Connors. So, bit of background to all of this. We got a picture-in-picture promo during the Garcia and Connors entrance where Connors took a page out of the Death Riders playbook and hired somebody and went to his friend, the Death Riders, for this match as the conglomeration wanted to step up after Connors and Gabe Kidd had left Darby Allin in the desert last week. And then after talking a bit of shit himself, Garcia asked Roddy if he's tired of hanging out with losers yet. There was also the other part of this where apparently Orange had accepted this match on Roddy's behalf. So Roddy didn't really want to be there, and you could tell because Orange had to be like, bro, like, come on, we have a match during their entrance. And then Roddy just blew past him and went to the ring. So he was pretty pissed.
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Yeah, pretty much. On top of all of that, Jon Moxley was on commentary, and he is insane on commentary.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. It doesn't matter the company. It doesn't matter the babyface heel alignment. The man's just wild. He's rabid.
And I'm not like, it's funny, like sometimes he calls things in the ring and then he's really good at it, but he's just like almost like a little ADD and he just says the most random shit. Now, granted, he started off tonight on commentary by saying how funny he thinks Tony Storm is going to look bald, which, while relevant, it was tangentially relevant. Nobody asked. And between this and the match on Saturday, where he was also doing commentary, he can't stop talking about how much fun it's going to be to see one of them bald. He thinks Marina isn't going to give a shit, like we said, because she's so focused on killing people.
Yep.
He's like, Tony, she might lose it, but I think she's going to look good. And like, she has enough confidence. She'll probably be fine. Orange, he thinks is going to be bad. And Wheeler, he is just like, yeah, Wheeler loves that hair, man. I really don't think he can handle losing it. So
it's going to be Yuta.
Yeah, I think so. Mox is, it's funny listening to him be on commentary because he just randomly interjects with random shit.
Yep.
Sometimes it's about the match, sometimes it's not. And he just has no like flow with the rest of the commentary, and it somehow is phenomenal. All right. Rant out of the way. To get into the match here, we come back from the commercial break, and Orange is, having the big comeback spot, and he's got the hands in his pockets, and he does the kip up, and he's going over into the corner, and Roddy jumps off the apron to avoid the hot tag and heads up the ramp, hanging Orange out to dry. So Orange just starts getting his ass beat again. He took a spear on the apron from Connors, which was nasty, and that led to things going on the outside. He got set up at the barricade, and Connors went into a 3-point stance and rushed him, but Orange was able to avoid it. Now, granted, when he did so, he went right into a Daniel Garcia boot, but he did avoid Connors.
Yep.
So Danny throws Orange back into the ring, and the referee, I didn't catch who it was, I'm sorry to that ref, goes to check on Orange. And as he does so, Darby Allin comes out of nowhere in the crowd, grabs Connors, and just pulls him into the depths of the crowd, just beating the shit out of him as they head towards the back. Meanwhile, back in the ring, Garcia and Orange are going at it, and Orange now has Garcia lined up for an Orange punch. However, Garcia is able to counter it, and he goes for the Dragon Tamer. And as he does so, Orange catches him and rolls him into a pinning predicament, and he's able to keep Garcia down for the 3 and escapes with the win, despite the fact that he was abandoned by Roderick Strong. So after this, all hell breaks loose. Garcia goes over to Moxley at commentary, and Moxley is just talking about how they were this close and da-da-da-da. And then Timeless Tony Storm's music hits, and I'm presuming somebody muted Mox's mic. And she is up in one of the luxury boxes with Luthor. So she's there, and she begins by saying that she is Timeless Tony Storm, and she has made peace with her decisions. And then she addresses Marina Shafir, a.k.a. that MMA asshole, and says that if Marina knocks her out cold in front of friends, family, and former lovers, then Marina deserves to shave her head. And if that does happen, she will be the most beautiful bald bastard this world has ever seen. But if Tony wins, then she is going to shave Marina's head so close to her skull that they're going to sell her at Spirit Halloween. Didn't know they had those in the 20s. As for Wheeler Yuta, she calls him the most annoying little shit she has ever seen. And as she is saying that, he comes out and starts to interrupt her on the stage.
Yammering, bitching.
Everyone starts booing him. There's a big fuck you, Yuta chant. And then Moxley, I guess they brought his mic back up. He goes, "That's not nice, Ontario, Canada." And then when that dies down, Wheeler just goes, "Bring her out." And Marina wheels out, and mostly unconscious Marina Shafir, as she is already locked in the Mother's Milk submission. Garcia then jumps Orange Cassidy in the ring, so he can't go make the save. And as Tony Storm helplessly looked on, Yuta grabs a big fistful of Mina's hair and grabs the scissors and cuts it off before leaving her lying on the stage. So, James, the match was fine. I mean, it was mostly to build story stuff with Connor and Darby and Roddy and everything, and then set up what happened after. So a lot happens. I'm not really sure where to go with all this, but I'm guessing you have some more thoughts about Mina and everything that we discussed earlier.
I mean, the rules of opposite momentum sort of dictate that after what happened to Mina, we're probably going to see one of the Death Riders lose their hair, whether it's Marina or Yuta.
Yuta, but I'm guessing Yuta.
I am too. But, and that's A-okay in my book. It's going to be funny as hell. My issue is and again, you're right, it's about Mina. It feels like she is there solely to take the L's for Tony.
Yeah, just really quick, Maria is saying Mina is becoming a human shield for Tony.
Absolutely.
And an Achilles heel.
I mean, yes and no. She's cost her the one match. She cost her the blood and guts match.
More of, maybe not an Achilles heel, emotional pressure point. Because Mina has done, Tony has done some pretty crazy things, including being in this entire feud with Marina in the first place, just because of everything that happened with Mina.
Yeah. I don't mind that aspect. That's what good partners do, both in the ring and in life. But I am really, really, really getting frustrated at Mina just taking either L's in matches, getting beat down, or in this instance, being the humiliated one. I understand the pecking order. I understand how important Tony is. I get that. But I am at a point of apathy when it comes to Mina. I am not getting excited to see her wrestle just because I am expecting her to take the L. And that's not what they should be doing with her. Like, I'm not expecting her to be world champion. Like, I'm not, like, I can't even fathom that with how she's been booked the last several months. But my God, like, make her feel like a threat in some way. Make her, like, I know you talked about the Viva Van thing, and that's great.
Yeah, but it was a fairly mundane match, which
it's
I was a little
match.
disappointed in. Yeah.
It's a jobber match.
Mostly, I think they gave him a commercial.
Yeah,
I think they gave him a full commercial. And they hyped Viva up before the match, too. Like,
that's great.
So it wasn't full blown jobber. It wasn't Brittany Bond or whatever her name was last week.
Yeah, Brittany Banks, I think it was, right?
Yeah. She was, hey, look, like I said, we remembered her name, so she did something, right?
Anywho, I'm really getting the shits of this. I'm really getting tired of it on Mina's behalf, and I hope that Tony eventually, but like, maybe give her a TBS title reign. She's kind of like it's starting to feel like a humiliation ritual.
Yeah, I mean, she had the interim ROH Women's TV title, but again, that was the interim, and she immediately lost it when
it's the interim for a title that people inherently don't care about.
Yep.
You know, like it's a rough life. It's a rough life.
I agree. Like, and I really like Mina, and
I do too.
She's a great wrestler. But yeah, she's been mostly thrown aside for this Tony and Orange pairing, which has been great. Yes. I've enjoyed it a lot.
Yes.
But she's been thrown aside outside of instances like this, where they need to somehow get to Tony. And since they can't physically get to Tony, or Tony doesn't care, they get to her through Mina.
Yep.
And not only is that disappointing, I think you're throwing away one of the funnier aspects of the whole Tony Orange dynamic, which was Mina doesn't like the fact that he's there.
No, you're good. Unless this is building towards her turning on Tony. Like, I went through all this shit for you, and you still decided to partner with this guy that I feel like is taking you away from me. I don't know why we're doing this, but even then, I wouldn't turn them against each other right now.
Yeah. Plus, Mina is like the biggest, or like the most easy babyface ever with the music and everything. People love Mina.
People love Mina. I love Mina. I love Joshi's. I miss Sheeta. I miss Riho. I got one Joshi right now, and she's not being booked well.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Fernando saying Mina is to Tony what Kyrie is for Asuka in WWE. Little different. I think it's a little different. I think Tony at least looks at Mina as an equal. It's just Tony Storm that is. Tony Khan very clearly doesn't.
Unfortunately.
You know it mentioning that it looks like Mina's going to take Miss May's role as the heel and literally use said heel. But to jump on to another comment here and to talk about the other aspect of this match, Maria is saying that Roddy is going to join the Death Riders eventually to be with Marina, his wife. After walking out tonight, I am curious your thoughts on this, just because Roddy very clearly does not want to be in the conglomeration. He told Briscoe as much on Saturday before his match. And now he's walking out on Orange Cassidy. So I'm assuming we're not seeing Kyle O'Reilly for a little bit. I don't know what his status is. Is Roddy just turning heel on his own, or do you think he joins the Death Riders? Or do you think they actually bring him back around in the conglomeration and he starts conglomerating?
My best case scenario personally is he joins the Death Riders, but Marina leaves. And they are just consistently feuding with one another. Let Marina join the conglomeration, and she's the babyface. And Roddy just says, you know what? Payback. Payback for everything. In all seriousness, though, I don't know. I love Roddy. I think we all love Roddy, but it pains me to say it. I don't think Roddy is much of a needle mover no matter where he goes. Like, I'm not in love with the conglomeration because of anything Roddy's doing. I'm not going to be more excited for the Death Riders because Roddy joins them. And I feel bad saying that, but it's the truth.
I liked Roddy in the conglomeration just because he didn't like he was in the conglomeration,
and
which
it's a
was
fun bit. Yeah,
but it's all kind of fallen apart because the conglomeration hasn't really been conglomerating. Ishii's hurt and he has been around. Kyle's hurt. And it feels like outside the occasional mention, Orange and Briscoe and the Babes of Wrath, like they haven't really been hanging out all too much.
Yeah.
So it's really just kind of been, like Roddy tags with Orange or Roddy tags with Orange and Briscoe. And you don't really get that feeling of a conglomeration. You just kind of like, they're kind of there, but no one's really hanging out anymore. And it's kind of just felt like that.
No,
taken away from it.
I'm inclined to agree with you. I don't know. The conglomeration works because they're not the traditional faction. They're kind of just baby faces teaming together.
Yeah. And who just like to hang out.
Yeah. So when it comes to Roddy, I don't know. Like, I think he's a good fit for the Death Riders, but we're going to get to a point where that group is a little too big. And I don't know how you trim that fat. Like, obviously, we're all expecting Mox at some point to probably be kicked out. But even then, I don't know that anymore.
Yeah.
What felt like a certainty a few months ago now feels like a maybe. So I really don't know. And it's not a good I don't know where it's like, wow, this is going a lot of directions. I'm excited to see where it goes. It's more like a I don't know, and whatever happens, I guess.
I guess so.
Like, I feel bad saying that. I like all the individual pieces of this puzzle. There's just like nothing seems to be fitting in a way that's super satisfying.
Yeah, and I'm going to disagree with Fernando slightly saying that Roderick is as dull as Kris Statlander because I don't find Kris Statlander dull at all. But
you do find Roddy dull.
No, but I can understand why Roddy has his detractors because his character work has never been his strong suit, no pun intended. It's always been his ring work.
Rev! I disagree.
That's been the best character he's arguably had outside of when he was in Undisputed Era, but that was just because Undisputed Era itself was awesome.
Yeah.
So I can see why, like you said, he's not a needle mover because as much as we love him, because he is one of those guys that was an indie great, and is so good in the ring. People who move the needle are usually almost always, character people.
And I feel I hate using that phrase because there's so many great talents that were never the needle mover for a company, but they still deserve their roses and their love. Yeah. I use that term for like my general interest for a program. God damn it.
Sorry.
No, you're not. But anyway, for my interest in a program or a feud or a group or something. And I don't feel that right now with Roddy. But I am happy that he is being highlighted. I think realistically, this kind of comes down to, and I mean him no disrespect, he was, for me, always, at best, the third most interesting person in the Undisputed Era.
Yeah.
Whether it's Kyle or O'Reilly, don't say it, whether it's Kyle or Adam Cole, those were always the guys that I was super invested in. I love Roddy for his ring work, and I fucking love that triple threat. But that's kind of the end of that for me,
Yeah, and this is why he needs more people to play off of.
Yeah.
And Kyle being, I think, the number one guy, and he just doesn't have him.
Yeah. Why is he out? He got injured, right?
Bicep or something? He got hurt. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, he got hurt.
Terrible fucking timing.
Yeah. Maria wants Moxley out of Death Rider those. And I'm mostly putting that up because you made a TNA reference for it.
Wow. Well, first of all, thank you, Maria. Second of all, yes, I agree. I think the difference is the system is fundamentally changed without having Moose there. I don't think the Death Riders are going to be fundamentally changed without Moxley if either Claudia or Pac becomes the new leader. But we'll see.
I think that's fair. That is mean, Fernando. That is an insult, Robbie. I'm Michael Jackson and you, Tito. All right.
Woo. Are we still allowed to quote Rush Hour after everything?
We can quote Rush Hour, but, maybe don't hire the director.
And we just don't credit the director. Made by Anonymous.
All right, moving along here. Next up, we went to a couple of pre-recorded backstage promos from last week, following everything that went down. First from Andrade El Idolo, who was there with that carny piece of shit Don Callis, who was thrilled because Andrade beat Kenny Omega. And he says that the Don Callis family is a team, and he knew that Andrade was the man to take Kenny out. And he knows Andrade is the next man to be the AEW World Champion. And Hangman is going to find out what happens when you get in the way of Andrade and the family. You get run over. Andrade then thanks Don for believing in him, and then he calls Hangman out in Spanish, closing in English, telling Paige that he is in the way. We then cut to Hangman, who has a very short promo, but he says that he really thought he was going to get Kenny at Grand Slam. He needed to Kenny at Grand Slam because he needed to beat the man he once defeated for the title to know that he could win it again. But instead, he will be facing Andrade, who he knows is one of the best in the world. And then he tells Andrade in Australia, and I hope I wrote this right. I think he said, "No te quitas los pantalones." I'm not entirely sure what that means, but I said it's got something to do with his pants. Yep. So, okay.
I love that, man.
I wish I will probably get the full translation at some point off of Reddit, but yeah, the fact that he A, speaks fluent Spanish is great, but B, he's just hilarious, even when he's being serious. All right, after that, we came back to our the final match, at least we have to go over, which was a tag team triple threat between the Young Bucks, the Rascalz, and the Mystery Team.
Didn't we have a promo? Didn't we have a backstage promo from Jet Speed?
If we did, I missed it. That's my bad. I was super far behind, and
It's all good. Never mind. You guys didn't hear or see anything.
Sorry, Jet Speed. We love you. Shout out Kevin Knight, friend of the pod, kind of. We met him. I never said I knew Marcus Aurelius. I said he touched me on the shoulder once. Anyway, this match was the Bucks, the Rascalz, and a Mystery Team for the number one contendership for the AEW World Tag Team Champions. So the Bucks came out, the Rascalz came out, and then we had our third team, and oh my God, is that Private Party?
By the way, everybody, just so you guys know, these pre-typed little tickers on the bottom, I have so much respect for Rev for writing it out twice. One with the question marks, and then one with Private Party on it.
Thank you, but there's this thing called copy and paste.
No, I understand. But whenever I do the mystery thing, I typically just do the question marks, and then I say, "Guess what? It was in this Private Party," and I just leave it like that. You still put in the extra effort. Bravo.
Thanks. I mean, it's also my job to type. I type crazy fast. Anyway, Private Party's back. They apparently haven't been in AEW for over a year.
I know, it's nuts.
Which, I guess there goes those WWE rumors. Huh?
Yeah.
Anyway.
They're going to be at Hog next week.
Oh, cool. Nice. Super excited for that. I was just thinking, we met them, right? At Hog. And I was like, yeah, we did. And I was like, all right, I guess we get
We're getting MJF, Andrade, and Private Party.
Damn.
That's a pretty AEW card right there.
I'm hyped. Also of note that took place during this match, Hook, who is now the new boss of the Ops as Samoa Joe is hurt. He's the interim boss, I guess. He was sitting up in the stands watching this match. So that was a thought of note. Anyway, I want to quickly point out that Myron Reed hit a cutter to the floor.
Yeah, it's the human torch he calls it, I think.
Yeah. Oh, is that really what he calls it?
It's either, I think it's Flame On or Human Torch. Yeah.
Either way, that's pretty cool, though he probably can't call it Human Torch anymore because this is a DC company. But he hit that, and he took out Private Party and Nick Jackson. So that was pretty crazy.
Yep.
That then led to Reed and Xavier teaming up on Matt Jackson, with Reed hitting Matt with a 450 splash, but Nick was able to get back into the ring to make a save. Matt then counters a catapult, and that allows Nick to come in, and he hits a super kick on, is it Xavier or Xavier?
They both were said.
Okay.
One commentator said Xavier, one commentator said Xavier. I don't think, I to this day don't know if it's Xavier Woods or Xavier Woods.
He goes Xavier Woods because he's being annoying.
And I get it. I've heard both. So I think it's Dezmond Xavier.
Okay.
I think.
It's St. Francis Xavier, but it's Dezmond Xavier. Okay.
It's Charles Xavier.
Yeah, I guess it's true. Friggin' English. Anyway. So Bucks have a super kick party. They take out the Rascalz, and then they hit one on Quen, who came flying off the top rope. They hit him with a BTE trigger to take him out. And then the Bucks grab Reed, hit the TK driver. You know what? Actually, we're in Southern California. They hit the Melter driver, and they pick up the win, and they get the shot at the Tag Team Championship. So we'll talk about everything that happened after in a second. But, James, this was two types of matches. It was one, a PWG match, because, like I said, they were in Ontario, which is like 10 minutes from the Young Bucks' house. But also, this was a blink and you're going to miss something awesome match. And I blinked far too often. I need to rewatch this because, I'm always doing 1,000 things trying to set off the pod, especially towards the end of the show here. And this got the quote-unquote time slot of death.
Yeah.
And they were just like, nah, put the Bucks there. Everyone's going to pay attention. And then just throw out these three guys, and they're just going to have a pinball-level banger. And boy, was it.
It was. It's funny. I went into this match thinking once Private Party was the mystery team revealed, I went into this match thinking, man, I kind of just wish the Bucks weren't here. I would have loved to see these two young teams going at it. I would have loved to see Private Party and the Rascalz going one-on-one, because there's a lot you could do with that feud. Yeah, the two party boy drinkers versus the two of the three big stoners. Like that's a fun feud that you can have. But not only did I think to myself, man, do I wish the Bucks aren't here, I also thought, of course, these are the guys that then win the match. I don't really know why you bring Private Party back after a year of being missing to have them lose. Granted, they didn't take the pin or anything.
Yeah, that was going to be my main thing there.
But I think no matter what, the Bucks win. I'm not mad that the Bucks are the number one contenders. The Bucks versus FTR, while a match that I don't need to see right now, I recognize will be very good.
Yep.
So fine with me. But this felt like a situation where neither the Rascalz nor Private Party should have taken a loss. So I don't know. I don't know if it's just me being disappointed that teams that I really love and I'm invested in didn't get high profile wins, but I don't know. I was a little sour on it. But overall, fun.
Don't you dare.
Don't. I will. He retired, so
I know.
I someone's not stopping me. I enjoyed the matchup. I even enjoyed the outcome, but I wish there was a way. Like, as the millennial snowflake that I am, why couldn't we just figure out a way where everybody wins? Like that was me. That was me in this matchup. I'm upset that the Rascalz got their, I think, first big loss, and that Private Party came back to a big loss.
I'm trying to think. This might be the Rascalz' first loss. They haven't been in too many matches so far, and they won. I know they won the street fight last week. I think they beat, was it Top Flight or something the week or two before. So I think this might be their first L. But I mean, if you're going to take one, taking against the Bucks doesn't hurt anybody.
Yeah,
but I agree with you. I think it would have been cooler to have a team that, I don't want to say is definitely going to lose the match in it, especially if you have Private Party coming back. But the fact that we got, I think, these three teams in the same match is really cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The tag team division is heating up. We have
so stacked.
We have the Bucks back in the tag division. We have FTR as champions. We have the newly introduced Rascalz. We have the returning Private Party. For a hot second there, we had Davis and Doyle, which was just so exciting. We have Jet Speed when they come back to the tag division. Like, that's 6 teams, and that was without me thinking about who else is there.
Yeah, if you ever want to, you can have the Death Riders go after the tag titles. You know, if you want to put them there. There's the conglomeration could always conglomerate and maybe make a run. Like, there's easily teams you can just kind of, I don't want to say make out of thin air, but there are factions all over the place
100%
that you can get tag title runs, or, you know, runs at the titles at least, from a lot of different people. And because, I mean, Lord knows there's enough people in the fucking Don Callis family where they could have their own tag division. So
God willing, we get a reunited Guns soon. A reunited, not the Acclaimed.
Anything with the Bang Bang Gang.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
I mean, their run was good.
The
Juice and
it was. I want the actual Guns.
Yes, I agree, but it was still fun.
Guns. Yeah.
The Acclaimed are getting back together. Their shit backstage has been hilarious. Not even the backstage, it's most been online, but it's funny as fuck.
So you got the Acclaimed there. Like, the tag team division finally really heated up.
Yeah. Or reheated.
Reheated, yeah. So very exciting in that regard, which makes it all the funnier that we're just getting the Bucks versus FTR like 17.
Yeah,
but
it's 4, I want to say.
I actually think it's 5.
Is it 5?
I think so.
Who cares? Look, we haven't gotten to 2 years.
Yeah. So I'm cool. I'm cool. Cool.
I just checked. They haven't faced each other since Dynasty in 2024. So it's been a second. And the Bucks they're back to being the Bucks again.
Yeah.
So you know this shit's gonna slap. I'm excited as all hell.
I am too. Oh, and without a doubt, we're getting Cope and Christian at some point.
Yeah, they're gonna come back eventually as well. You know, whenever they heal up / finish filming things.
Yeah.
All right, to the comments. Fernando, help me out here. Don't take your pants off. That was the Spanish. They never taught me that line.
I would hope not. I would hope whoever is teaching you would not teach you that line.
Fernando also saying what I said, thought Private Party was going to WWE. Now, I don't know if Tony resigned them and that's why they're back on TV. That would be pretty cool if that's what happened. Because, James, I agree with you. If you're a tag team right now, you do not want to be in WWE. There's nothing for you there.
I'd be terrified. I actually bought myself the Motor City Machine Guns action figures today just because I missed their faces. I was like, I forgot what you look like.
Imagine they were in this division. Like, jeez.
I was reading a report earlier. It keeps me up at night. I was reading a report today before they came back that when asked about Private Party status, I think it was SRS. I think it was SRS. He was just like, I expect to see them back in an AEW ring before I expect to see them in a WWE ring. And then they showed up. I was like, what the fuck did you know? Like, who was telling you things?
You'd be surprised when any of those guys, him, Meltzer, whatever, they know more than they are usually allowed to say.
Which I appreciate. I don't want the story spoiled.
Yeah.
But I did love the timing of that question being asked and his answer. Yeah. Speaking of dirt sheet rats, there is a strong belief that Jericho re-signed with AEW.
I wouldn't be surprised. Now, granted, people are asking, where have you been or where's he been? Apparently, he's on tour with Fozzy.
He will be on tour all of February.
Yeah, all of February. So don't expect him anywhere anytime soon. But not only is he on tour, he is on tour in Europe. So
I need you to know. I need you to know because there are the rumors that because I think there was a report AJ has not signed a new like Legends contract with WWE or any type of extension, and they're really trying to, and he just hasn't done it. So there is a belief that he might, show up somewhere, somewhere AJEW maybe. And I need you to know how much I need his first feud in AEW to be Chris Jericho.
So we can get that win back.
I need you to know how much Y2AJEW will make me so happy.
I'm a little upset you threw that into the into existence, but
Come on.
that
That was the greatest tag team from 2-week length I've ever seen.
the best shirt you could possibly own. It's like
Right.
it's like having a Mike Piazza Marlins jersey.
Exactly.
He was there for 5 games.
Yep. 1000%. Oh man.
All right. Let's see. You know what? Asking what happened to Top Flight? They're on Collision mostly. They're actually in
And Ring of Honor. And Ring of Honor. Yeah.
But they're in a stable with there is it a Skyflight now? So it's them, Scorpio Sky. Christopher Daniels is managing them. No, it's not Layla Gray.
It was for a while, but I think she got replaced.
I think she turned on them actually.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember the new girl's name. She literally just wrestled on Collision.
Zeta?
Yeah, Zeta Steel.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was just she had a match with Dante against against Wheeler and Marina in a mixed tag tune-up for them. So that was cool. Fernando pointing out the last time Private Party won the tag titles, they were benched until it was time to lose them.
Yeah. It's unfortunately true.
Yeah, there was still a lot of contractual stuff with them at the time. Like no one was really sure what was going on. So and we still haven't been for a year. But they're back now, looks like. Fernando helped me out here. It is like Professor Xavier. I appreciate that. Wasn't he the trumpet guy in WWE? That would be a trombone, but close enough. No participation trophies, James.
This is America. It's run on participation trophies.
Moving on. AEW, there's too many jokes I'm not allowed to make. AEW now has the cheapest tag division in wrestling. I don't think there's any disputing that. You could maybe
it's
even
definitely
call
the
it
best
undisputed.
booked. I'm going to argue it's the best booked tag division in wrestling.
Yeah, I can't think of a deeper one. I mean, granted, I don't really know my New Japan that well. And I feel like maybe CMLL's got some dudes, but
I believe you.
Yeah. Eric. Hi, Eric. Matt Men seems to think that he's already signed. I'm not sure if you're referring to AJ or Jericho, but either way, thank you. Fernando, is it true Royce Keys got caught lying about his age?
So, all right. Yes.
No. They were just working. It's not lying. It's working.
It's his work age. It's his work age. I have been under the belief that Powerhouse Hobbs is 35. That's what I was under the belief of for a long time, that was his age range. It has come out that he is actually 41. Now, I've heard multiple things, but the last thing I've heard is that it's a nothing story and WWE doesn't care. And that's great. I don't want them to care. But I wouldn't, this is a rare instance where I wouldn't really be mad at WWE if they were mad at him. Because there is a big difference between signing a 35-year-old and a 41-year-old.
I would be shocked if he didn't tell them.
Yeah, I'm sure they knew. I don't know if this was just something that fans and like what our knowledge, our perceived knowledge was versus what was ever actually said. But there is a big difference from thinking 35, this guy could go for another 10 years, to 41, where this guy could maybe go for another 5 to 6 years. There is a big difference there. And with WWE's perception of we only push people that are in their 40s, even though he's new, it's still not great.
Yeah, I mean, on the other side, I saw Meltzer mention, if you're going to go, you got to go now because you only have so much time. And I also think that puts into perspective some of the injuries he's gotten over the last few years.
Absolutely.
So,
I will say 35, 41, whatever. I love Powerhouse Hobbs. Now Royce Keys. I don't like that name, but I'll get used to it. I like Royce Keys, and I'm rooting for him no matter what. I think he's a great talent, and I stand by that no matter what his age is.
I agree. And you know what? 40 is a new 30, so.
Please, from your lips to my like hips.
Hey, yo.
You know what I mean.
I'm joking around that Jericho resigned just for the commentary, with Eric saying he just wants them to say soccer mom hair. Again,
could apply to either Jericho or AJ.
Maria actually helpfully pointing out I was wrong about this. Layla Gray is indeed still with Top Flight and Skyflight subsequently. I did just check. You are right. My bad. And let's see. It's saying New England got a participation trophy. They actually do. You do. If you lose a Super Bowl, you do technically get a conference championship ring. It's just that nobody fucking cares about it.
Yeah.
What New England needed in that Super Bowl was Bill Belichick. How ironic. Isn't it ironic? And Eric bringing up the time Boogeyman lied, I guess, about his age as well.
It was when he was on Tough Enough. He said he was like 10 years younger than he actually was. And then when it got caught up, because they literally just needed to check his ID. When they checked his ID, they cut him from Tough Enough.
Oh.
And then he became the Boogeyman.
No, there you go. Hey, it worked out for him in the end.
Yep.
All right. After this, we just had a couple more video packages. It was Will Ospreay had a big video package. I've dubbed it the When I Return video package. Look good. He's coming back. Looks like
it's got to be
going
close.
well.
It's got to be close.
Yeah, maybe a Revolution.
Yeah.
That could possibly make sense. Wouldn't be surprised if he immediately gets slingshotted to MJF, but we'll see.
I would only want that if he actually won the title.
Maybe. Everyone thinks he's going to win it in Wembley, though.
See, it goes back to what's bigger. Going into your hometown as champion or winning it in your hometown, because him walking into Wembley as champion and taking on AJ would be fucking nuts.
Okay, if we're doing that, then let him win sooner than later.
Yeah,
we got to see what happens with one Alan Jones first.
Yeah,
and then speaking of MJF, as we mentioned, there was the video package for his match with Brody King.
Yeah.
On Saturday. And kids, that was Dynamite. And like we said, Tony fucking brought it. I honestly think, James, he attempted to capitalize on what he believed to be some new eyes coming in, follow all the publicity he had. Yep. And he threw out 2 title changes, one of them in a 5-star match. He threw out, we were mentioning the talent, the triple threat. I think that's another reason why he put all those teams in there. He had a fairly notable return. You booked another great match for next week, a top-tier match. And Tony is he's on one right now, and I'm loving
it. This is how you follow up to wanting eyes on your product. You have your top talent start the show in Kenny Omega and Swerve Strickland in a fun brawl that this felt like it was not just booked for the sickos. It felt like it was booked to get randoms who might be showing up for the first time excited.
Yeah.
You had a brawl, which is exciting. You had title changes, which is exciting. You had gimmicky stuff like hair being cut, which is exciting. There was a lot on the show that felt appealing to normies. And I think that's a great way to follow up.
Strap match, maybe withstanding, but
there's a reason
change out of it.
You got a title change, but there's a reason it happened after 10 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. Good call.
Yeah. So I think across the board, this was booked as well as it could have been. The only thing I would have done differently was have Brody there.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I understand why he wasn't, but I would 100% agree. Are you laughing at it's yes, he is definitely paying off. The sickos are thriving right now. And not only that, they're acknowledging it on commentary. Don called us the sickos.
Yep.
When they asked him why Archer was out for the Fletcher match, he goes, Don's like, oh, he's got to protect me from the people behind me. I think they call them sickos. Oh, shit. All right. Yeah, let's go. Let's lean into this. We are sickos. And it's awesome.
Yep.
Just to clean up the comments here. Fernando said the Bad Bunny halftime show was fire. Yes, it absolutely fucking was. It was
anything that has Jessica Alba involved is fire.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Bonk. Eric saying you could do the return double debut with Ospreay and AJ. I guess Brian and Cole.
It would rival that, in my opinion.
Oh, 100%. I guess the only difference is that we know Ospreay's coming back at some point. As opposed to...
It doesn't matter. You just know... we had an idea Brian was coming.
Yeah.
We had an idea Brian was coming. We didn't really know with Cole, although we kind of knew. But it didn't matter because that moment was magical.
I rewatch it every once in a while because you have to.
I will never get rid of the memory. Like, I will never be able to lose the memory of us watching that at our draft.
Yep.
And I think I lifted you high above my shoulder.
Yeah, I almost punched the ceiling.
So
maybe that's why your shoulder was so fucked up.
I mean, it couldn't have helped. Couldn't have helped. But I love that we're in this position. Like, I don't like comparing the hot and cold of two different companies, but it is unfortunately inevitable.
Yeah,
but
Fernando just did for you.
Yeah, exactly. It's true what Fernando is saying. AEW is on a high right now, while WWE is struggling to sell Mania tickets. Now, there are several reasons for that, most of which I'm sure are financial.
Yep.
But beyond that, yeah, WWE is not in a creative hype spot right now, while AEW is creatively thriving, in my opinion. I maintain I want all of these companies to thrive, but historically, we have seen over AEW's short run, when WWE tends to do poorly, AEW tends to strike. And then when AEW tends to cool off, WWE happens to be hot.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Shit's cyclical.
Absolutely.
And I think the AEW is benefiting from, not only WWE kind of dipping a little, and I'm sure people are coming back because this product has been better. I think that AEW's gotten some, new talent or talent back.
Yep.
And that's helping as well because guys are coming in hungry and it's, pushing everybody else. So, yeah, I think we're in a really good spot here over at, in AEW land. And that's what I really care about. So
I agree. I like I said, I maintain I want all these companies to thrive.
Yeah, because it's better for the wrestlers if they
Exactly. And as a fan, even if you're not watching WWE, it's cool to know, things are kind of good right now, and I can check out those clips if I don't feel like watching the show. So across the board, I want everyone to be doing well, but I am very happy. What feels like my home company is doing well right now.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm a clip watcher for WWE, but I am here every Wednesday and then almost every Wednesday. And then I'm doing my best to watch Collision, usually on tape, on delay. But I watch it because it's been good.
Yes.
I believe that's the Rascalz theme. And on that note, I would like to thank everybody so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. We'd appreciate it if you'd like to subscribe. If you like the video, let us know that you're enjoying what we're doing here on the show. Keep things rolling the way they are. And if you subscribe, you can get all the great stuff we do here on the channel. Yes. Gym Pack Zone on Thursdays. You got one tomorrow?
Yes. It's a tough week, but yes, I should be good.
All right, so yeah, be sure to subscribe for the Gym Pack Zone for all you TNA fans. I know they've been going through a transition over there, but hopefully things are looking up a little bit more. And like Jim said, Bush just got betrayed, so there's a storyline there. And go support Mike Santana because he's Puerto Rican and awesome. And from the Bronx, obviously, we have our new show, Grabs and Grievances, that comes out Monday mornings. So if you guys want to check out Danny and Eric's sit-down show. They look at things with more of a broad spectrum, try to look ahead to certain things, have discussions about would you rathers and stuff like that. It's a good show. Be sure, if you want to check that out and, have a bit more of a wrestling discussion as opposed to just what was focused to what happened on that specific night, go watch their show. I think you guys really like it and probably get a good conversation going down in the comments. And, of course, we will be back here next Wednesday for Dynamite. I will do my best to cover Grand Slam. I don't know if I'm going to be home. We'll see.
I will definitely not be home.
Yeah, it's Valentine's Day. I'm sure most people have plans. I don't at the moment, but as Meltzer always says, plans change. Yep. So I will do what I can.
Because plans change.
Yeah, change.
Change.
Triple H would say, plans change. If you want to check us out over on social media and you're watching us here on YouTube, you can check out all the links in the description below: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And if you're watching us over on Facebook or Twitter and you want to check us out in some other places, Twitter's at marketdown_pod. Instagram at marketdownpod. YouTube.com/marketdown3665. Or I think you could also do youtube.com/@marketdownpod. That'll come up as well if you can't remember the numbers. Blue Sky is marketdownpod.bsky.social. Or as always, just search Marketdown Podcast on any of your social media platforms, and you will be able to find us. James, anything else before we get out of here?
Love you guys. Be good to each other. Be excellent to one another. And I will.
Thanks, Bill and Ted.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's words to live by. I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow.
All right. So for James Asante, my name is Nick Cummings. Thank you so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. Sorry about that, Fernando. That sounds terrible. Have a good one, everyone, and enjoy your Valentine's Day, I guess, if you're not married.